The fires of Etrea burned for 3 days. From orbit, the colony looked like a dying ember smoldering against the void. Where green forests and crystalline lakes had once dotted the planet, blackened scars now stretched across continents. The Galactic Council's official statement was simple. The humans of Etrea had violated expansion treaties, provoked border disputes, and engaged in illicit militarization. Their destruction was regrettable, but necessary for galactic stability. Every word was a lie. Daniel Connor read the report from a cold steel bench inside a windowless chamber 200 meters beneath the ruins of Geneva. His jaw clenched. He had seen the footage, the unarmed colonists driven into shelters only to be firebombed by mercenary ships. He had listened to intercepted comms of crime syndicates laughing as they looted homes. He had studied the signature that marked every order, every bribe, every authorization. The name, Councillor Malvek Tharos. Officially, Tharos had voted for sanctions, not extermination. Unofficially, he had contracted mercenaries, leaned on syndicate captains, and made sure the Council's security feeds showed only what he wanted them to. Etrea IV wasn't a tragedy. It was a massacre for profit. The humans knew. They had evidence stacked higher than the spires of Orion Prime, but the Council would never accept it. To challenge, their narrative was to defy the entire galactic order. So humanity chose another path. They chose Daniel Connor. He was not the first of his kind. Before him had been prototypes, soldiers whose bones shattered under the weight of their enhancements, whose minds cracked from serum overload, whose nanotech turned rogue and consumed them from within. Daniel was the survivor, the perfected iteration of decades of black-budget science. His blood carried genetic rewrites stolen from extinct warbeasts. His muscles were woven with synthetic fibers that flexed like steel cords. Billions of nanites lived inside him, repairing tissue, enhancing reflexes, augmenting senses beyond human thresholds. His mind was stabilized with a serum that turned adrenaline into clarity rather than chaos. Daniel Connor was a weapon, and now he was pointed directly at the Galactic Council. The first target was a syndicate hub on Cardath Station, orbiting a mining moon in neutral space. Cardath was a cesspool of vice and corruption, where mercenaries, smugglers, and slavers mingled freely under council protection. Daniel arrived in silence, smuggled inside a cargo hauler packed with food rations. As the hauler docked, he moved. No hesitation, no wasted motion. Two guards waited at the airlock, hulking reptilian bruisers with plasma carbines. They scanned the crates lazily, jaws dripping with spittle. They never saw the blur until it was too late. Daniel's nanites surged, amplifying muscle fibers. He closed the distance in a single step. His left hand snapped one guard's neck with a sickening twist, bone crunching like dry twigs. His right hand drove a combat knife, monomolecular edge humming, into the second guard's chest. The blade slid through armor, ribs, and heart as if none of it mattered. Both bodies hit the deck almost silently. Daniel dragged them behind the crates, his expression calm, clinical. The mission had only begun. Inside Cardath's main hall, mercenaries drank and gambled beneath neon signs. Syndicate boss Ralak Vor, a massive insectoid with chitin plates scarred from decades of brawls, presided over the chaos. Daniel walked straight into the den. No disguise, no subterfuge. A shadow in matte black armor, eyes glinting like cold iron. Conversations faltered, weapons half raised, but no one fired. Something about the way he moved told them this was no ordinary man. He strode to Vor's table and dropped a data slate. Hollow images flickered above it. Scenes of Etrea IV burning, mercenary gunships strafing civilians, syndicate ships offloading stolen goods. Vor's own signature scrawled across contracts and payment orders. "You did this," Daniel said, voice low but carrying. "Every child buried in ash, every home looted, you signed it." Vor's mandibles clicked nervously. He reached for the plasma pistol on his belt. Daniel moved first. The knife sang. It buried itself in Vor's throat before the pistol cleared its holster. Green ichor sprayed across the table as the insectoid thrashed. Daniel ripped the blade free, spinning into the first guard who lunged. The edge parted flesh and armor in one stroke, sending the guard collapsing in halves. Panic erupted. Mercenaries scrambled for weapons. Daniel was already among them. His nanites mapped trajectories in real time, painting red lines of death across his vision. He snapped one wrist, reversed the stolen pistol, and shot another merc between the eyes. He kicked a table into three more, ribs splintering under the impact. A brute with a chain axe roared and swung. Daniel ducked, grabbed the brute's arm, and drove the axe into his own chest. The nanites in Daniel's blood flared, forcing his muscles to wrench the weapon deeper, tearing the brute apart. By the time silence fell, 24 mercs were sprawled across the floor in bloody heaps. Only Daniel still stood, calm as ever, wiping his blade on a fallen jacket. He leaned close to Vor's dying form, mandibles twitching weakly. "Tell Malvek Tharos I'm coming." Then he left the corpse where it lay. The next target was Cern Dravik, a financier who had laundered payments for the mercenary fleet. Dravik resided in luxury on the water world of Sistara, far from the filth of Cardath. Daniel infiltrated the glass-spired estate at midnight. Guards patrolled the gardens, sleek rifles slung casually. He cut through them like a phantom. One by one, throats slit, bodies lowered into fountains or shrubs. His movements were surgical, detached, as if killing was just another form of breathing. Inside, he found Dravik sipping wine beside a pool. The financier's eyes widened when Daniel dropped the data slate before him, showing transfers, hidden accounts, his name tied to the massacre. I just moved numbers," Dravik stammered. "I didn't kill anyone." "You armed the killers," Daniel replied. He pushed the slate closer. "This is your guilt." Dravik tried to run. Daniel caught him by the collar and forced his face into the pool. He held him there, nanites reinforcing his grip until the man's frantic struggles stilled. When Daniel finally released him, Dravik's lifeless body floated silently on the water's surface. One by one, the culprits fell. Syndicate captains, mercenary lieutenants, corrupt intermediaries, all of them received the same ritual. Evidence shown, guilt named, judgment delivered. Whispers spread through the underworld. A ghost in black armor was cutting a path of retribution. Mercs abandoned contracts. Smugglers fled their dens. Crime syndicates fractured in fear. Only one name remained, Councillor Malvek Tharos himself. The councillor resided on Veli's Prime, a city planet whose towers stretched into the clouds. There, beneath the gilded dome of the council chamber, Malvek still played the role of respectable statesman, publicly lamenting the regrettable events of Etria IV while privately reaping profits from reconstruction contracts. Daniel breached his estate during a gala. Senators, dignitaries, and elites sipped crystal glasses while drones floated overhead playing soft music. Daniel moved through them unseen, his nanites bending light just enough to confuse cameras and eyes. He found Malvek in a private lounge, laughing with two council aides. Daniel stepped into the light and dropped the final slate onto the marble table. The hollow display bloomed with incriminating evidence. Every bribe, every order, every lie. Malvek's smile faltered. What do you think this will accomplish? Do you imagine killing me will change anything? The council will crush your people for this insolence." Daniel's voice was calm. "Not before they see the truth. This data has already been transmitted across 100 networks. Every world will know what you did. Your empire of lies ends tonight." Malvek snarled and reached for the concealed pistol under the table. Daniel pinned his wrist with one hand and drove the other straight through the councillor's chest. Bones shattered, organs ruptured. Daniel ripped free, leaving Malvek gasping in shock before collapsing onto the floor. The aides screamed. Daniel silenced them with two precise shots. Then he walked into the gala hall, blood still dripping from his hands. The elites turned in horror as he spoke. "Etria IV burned because of your council, because of greed, because you believed humanity would bow. Remember this night. Remember my name. Tell the stars, we do not kneel." And then he was gone, vanishing into the city's labyrinth before security forces could converge. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy reeled. The evidence Daniel had unleashed spread faster than the council could contain it. Entire sectors rose in protest. Species long cowed by Tavari threats saw weakness for the first time. And through it all, whispers carried in every bar, every slum, every mercenary camp. Daniel Connor, the human ghost, the Council's executioner. He had shown the galaxy the price of underestimating Earth, and he was still out there, waiting for the next name to cross his list.